process. Now, Andrew Buchan, I mentioned earlier, was a Scottish engineer. His first task in Rhymney was to divert the river, actually, to feed the works. Water? There wasn't water supply in the house. Public health legislation that waited till the 1850s. You had to have cholera epidemics, all sorts, before you had water. So beer, which was very low in alcohol, was a means of hydration. You needed to quench your thirst, especially if you worked at a furnace. So it wasn't a recreational thing, it was a matter of survival, basically. You needed fluids. Now, you could hold that the Industrial Revolution depended on tea for the first phase, the cotton industry up north, because the water was sanitised through boiling, and similarly sanitised through the brewing process. And that's what kept the industrial workforce in place. Marx famously said the Frenchman is wine, the Englishman is beer. Engels, when he wrote The Condition of the English Working Class in England in 1842, said that the quickest way out of Manchester was the gin palace. Interestingly, the revival of microbreweries nowadays relies on legislation from the 1830s, where government was that afraid of the effect of gin palaces, Mother's Brewing and so on, that they allowed smaller breweries to take off. And you had tap houses, people's front rooms. The best example I've ever seen is Dukestown, Tredegar, where half the village was tap houses, and half of them were centres for Chartist organisation. You had the Sahawi Ironworks there. So the Andrew Buchan and Company Brewery, 1838 the brewery's formed. Andrew Buchan heads it up. He runs the company truck shop as well, entrepreneurial he would be called nowadays. 1867, 29 pubs, 12,500 barrels of beer per annum. By 1939, 362 hospitals and inns. By 59, that's expanded to 470 pubs. They merged with the Ely Brewery Company then, who have 260, so that's over 700 pubs. So you can see its growth, through the 19th century, up to the post-war period. Bang! In 1963, company records are discussing the fact that there are pit closures, the coalfield is declining, there's less money being spent on beer. Nevertheless, in 65, Whitbreads make a bid for the Rhymney Brewery, and they do actually form a new company, Whitbread Wales Limited, in 1969. 78, brewing ceases at the Rhymney Brewery, and the Rhymney Brewery is where the ironworks was. It's near the railway station, and there's a middle there now on a small housing estate. Interestingly, here's the front page for January 21st, 1966. Beetle George weds model Patty. Speculation whether Harold Wilson's going to call a march election. And lo and behold, Whitbread bid for Rhymney Breweries, taking over all of the Ely Breweries portfolio, and that's exactly what happens. So, today, the Rhymney Brewery has revived the brand, has revived some of the ales. Hobby Horse was the flagship ale of the traditional Rhymney Brewery, and of course is maintained in today's offerings and marketing material. It's a winner of a logo after all. Initially brewed in Dowers by the Evans family, Mark and Stephen formed the company, and Andrew, the son-in-law, and young Lewis, the grandson, are part of the company nowadays. So this is very much about a local community, entrepreneurial family, working damn hard to pull something off, basically. A phoenix rising from the ashes, if you like. And you can almost do the logo as a phoenix there. Fits my talk theme, so I'm going to claim that it is. Okay? By 2007, the Rhymney Brewery produces its millionth pint. We're in the middle of a real ale revival. Okay, the number of breweries in the UK has topped 1,000, the highest figure for over 70 years. It was reported in September 2012. And I'll quote from one newspaper article at the time: real ale revival led by small breweries. The UK's brewers are almost as wary as farmers of admitting prosperity. Sounds like my boss, actually. But a new report makes no bones about the dramatic revival of real ale and small-scale production. Famous for brand names such as Pig Squill and Old Legover, microbreweries are opening at a rate of almost 50 a year, encouraged by generous tax concession and drinkers' appetite for new tastes. Well, I'll toast down this one.